Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Oh my gosh, it is such an exciting day for the final culmination of a 5-year vision in the creation and the announcement today of the Legal Support Center right here in the courthouse. Stunning. Now, we all know, as I like to say, Wake County is the best county in the country today. And that being said, it's no surprise that we're continuing to add this level of service for all of our residents here in Wake County. Now, just imagine that you find yourself in some type of legal trouble or caught up in the legal justice system, and you find yourself at the courthouse or the Justice Center across the street. And it's so intimidating. It's just, what do I do? Where do I go? And up until today's announcement, you really didn't have a very good answer for that question. But as a result today and the work of these incredible partners, you'll be hearing some amazing speakers talking about how this center came to creation, when it will open, how it will work, and why it is so important for the citizens and residents of Wake County. You'll be hearing from some great leaders and speakers, first starting with, no surprise, Commissioner Matt Calabria, followed by a huge champion for this, Judge Ashleigh Parker Dunston. Judge Dunston has been a huge champion of this. We can't thank her enough. As well as Ashleigh Campbell, the Executive Director of Legal Aid of North Carolina. And rounding everything out is Jennifer Lechner, the Executive Director of the Equal Access for Justice Commission. So let's kick things off with Commissioner Matt Calabria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate everybody coming out today. Before I get started, I really want to appreciate a lot of the folks who won't have a chance to speak, but who are here today, including folks from the Sheriff's Office and all sorts of county functions. I want to really appreciate our Clerk of Court, Blair Williams, who's here and who has been supportive all along the way, as well as my colleagues on the County Commission, Commissioners Maria Cervania, Susan Evans, Vice Chair Shanika Thomas as well, and you're going to hear from the other folks up here. You're going to hear from a lot of attorneys today too. I'm one of them, and I can tell you how complicated and confusing the legal system can be, and it can be even more confusing for those who don't have any legal training or experience. But even more challenging is the legal system when it comes to low-income residents. Spending hundreds of dollars an hour in attorney's fees isn't an option when you're barely able to feed your family or to pay your rent. According to the 2020 Civil Legal Needs Assessment, 70% of low-income families in North Carolina encounter at least one legal issue every year, and 91% identified cost as the most significant barrier to services. The result is that many residents are left to fend for themselves in this confusing system and left to represent themselves in court. They try to navigate the complexities of our justice system alone, and all too often they struggle to determine where they stand or what the next steps in the process are. That can leave families feeling confused, frustrated, and defeated. It can result, and the clerk really helped me understand this, and the judge as well, in needless churn, bogging down the justice system with people having to come back over and over, schedule more hearings, and file more paperwork. This is a really underappreciated impact of a lack of legal services in our county and in our state. It doesn't just hurt the people who don't have legal services, it also hurts our court system overall and makes it less effective and less efficient, and it can lead even to bad results that don't adequately protect people's rights. We want to change that dynamic. So on behalf of the Wake County Commissioners, we are pleased to announce today that we're launching our first Legal Support Center right here in the Wake County Courthouse. Research shows that in Wake County, the two greatest areas of unmet need are landlord-tenant disputes and family law civil legal issues, including domestic violence, partner abuse, child custody, visitation, and child support issues. The Legal Support Center will focus on helping residents navigate cases in those two subject areas. At least at first, we may expand it in future years, but we're bridging the access gap and connecting residents with the information that they need to represent themselves more effectively and efficiently in court. No one should feel alone when they come to this building, especially when it comes to life-changing issues related to family law or landlord-tenant issues or anything else. This center is going to be opening up in phases. Once the center opens, and a first phase is going to start in early January, this customer service station behind me is going to be its hub. Visitors can come here and pick up handouts to learn what to expect throughout the legal process, what deadlines might apply to them, and what laws are relevant to their case. They can also gather forms that pertain to their legal matters and get direction on how and when to file them out, or to fill them out. It's important to note that we won't just be providing traditional legal services here, but we'll also be providing a lot of information about how to navigate the court system as well. So we'll be directing people to seek help and seek the right information, and that I think is going to make a world of difference for our residents. But that's just going to be the beginning. In later phases, which will occur in the succeeding months, we hope to grow the slate of services that the Legal Support Center will offer. Our vision includes expanding our footprint beyond this room ultimately, and we'd like to create space for attorneys and law students to meet pro bono with residents who need individual legal assistance. And that our services could also include not just individual lawyer consultations and not just the information that can be more easily promulgated to a number of people very easily and quickly with low barriers and transaction costs to doing so, but also legal clinics, legal referrals, and limited scope services for pro bono or what we call low bono representation for our clients. This new initiative has not just garnered the unanimous support of my colleagues on the County Commission, but we have a number of partners who know how important this is, who have formally, through letters of support or in other ways, voiced their support for what we are doing today because they know the need. And that has included the North Carolina State Bar, the Wake County Bar Association, Campbell University, the North Carolina Equal Justice Alliance, and so many others. And again, they understand the value of launching this center because they're in our courtrooms. They see the people pacing around, trying to call a lawyer, trying to find someone who can help them, who come to a lot of these reception desks asking for help and wondering why they can't get help, and who are wandering around in these lobbies trying to find someone to guide them in the right direction. They see the confusion and the frustration that people experience, and they know what this is going to do to move the needle for them. And again, this results in unnecessary court appearances, additional delays, and I think most compellingly to me personally, a delay in reunifying families or protecting victims from abusers. We are going to start cutting through that in January, and our successes will only build and our services will only expand. So our hope is that the Legal Support Center will not just reduce delays, but help protect people's rights in these often overlooked civil proceedings. And I really want to appreciate the work of all the people behind me today. I want to appreciate in particular Vice Chair Shanika Thomas, who was the one who brought this forward and really, I think, initiated this work on the County Commission side. And I also really, really want to appreciate Judge Dunston, who you're going to hear from in just a moment. There are not a lot of times that you can say this, but for Judge Dunston, this would not have happened. And it's her dogged advocacy on this. It's her perspective. It's traveling and seeing how things are done in other places that I think is not just going to make this a better resource, but is what made it possible for us to do this at all. So with that, I want to turn it over to Judge Dunston. Thank you.
I spent all this time doing my makeup only to cry it off. Thank you so much, Commissioner Calabria, and thank you all for being here. I cannot tell you, I think Ashleigh just said to me, she said, "Ashleigh, you're not choked up?" I wasn't until just now. I am so thrilled at this announcement for the Wake County Legal Support Center. This, as we have said numerous times, has been years in the making to ensure that every individual that walks into these doors, that no door is the wrong door as far as assisting them with their civil legal needs. And I know a lot of people say, well, what's civil? Civil is anything but criminal. All right. So, most people are aware that in the criminal system, you are entitled to an attorney if you cannot afford one. That is not the case in the civil system. And so many individuals are coming in for those issues that we talked about, such as domestic issues, dealing with their families in custody, dealing with child support, equitable distribution, divorces, also looking at their housing issues, other things such as waivers for 415s to help them with their driver's license restoration and expunctions, all of these different ways and needs that people have for attorneys and are just unable to navigate the system because they cannot afford it. And as a district court judge here in Wake County, serving over the last 5 years, I have had an opportunity to serve in every single courtroom here in Wake County. And I can tell you that serving in our family courtroom has really given me perspective to understand why people are ending up in our criminal justice system is because our children are not given a chance. Our children need a two-parent household. Even if the parents are not together, they need access to healthy, loving relationships. And so we are so excited that we have this opportunity to forge that way for people to receive information. That is what is really needed. Just information on how to go through this, how to deal with this. And we are excited to offer this opportunity. I will say Mecklenburg has been doing it for the last 20 years. And we are excited that we have the opportunity to do it here, do it better. We have the opportunity to really forge a way that this can be duplicated. We may be the most recent ones to do it, but we will not be the last. We have the opportunity to duplicate this across the state, specifically as we enter into e-courts, as our systems become electronic, that we will be able to help people navigate that system. As I think about my 95-year-old grandma in Catawba County and her being able to access a computer and be able to see the files and the records that she needs, we are really setting a path here, as Commissioner Calabria said, to give people an opportunity to move forward. And I can tell you that as far as the genesis of this and kind of how it started, I'm so grateful for Jennifer Lechner and Sylvia Novinsky, who brought this forward to Ashleigh Campbell 5 years ago, who was the president-elect of our Wake County Bar Association and 10th Judicial District Bar, which encompasses all of the lawyers in Wake County. And so it started then 5 years ago and unfortunately did not come to fruition, but we kept pushing and we kept pushing, and Jennifer and I kept pushing over the last 5 years. So I go to stand here to say that it's not about me or anything that I did, but it has been seeds planted along the way that now, as president-elect of the 10th Judicial District Bar and Wake County Bar Association, that I'm so excited to have the opportunity to partner with Campbell Law School, with Legal Aid, with the North Carolina Equal Access to Justice Commission, with the Wake County Bar Association, with Duke, with all these different individuals and entities, with the North Carolina State Bar, who are ready, excited, and thrilled to put forth the effort to make sure that every single person has access to attorneys or information if they need it with their cases. So I am just so grateful for all of our partners. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas, Calabria, Evans, Sarvania, Hutchinson, Chair Hutchinson. Blair has been right there this entire time, Clerk Williams. He said, I don't know if you can see behind me, but there are a lot of books here and things and dockets and those, I think, and all of those files that would be moving out of the way for this center, and that is because of him. And so I'm just so grateful for that as well. But it has been an honor and a pleasure to be the lead on this. But I will tell you that it is not about me; it's about all of us, and we are here to help, and we are excited that we have another opportunity to do so. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I am Ashleigh Campbell. I'm the CEO of Legal Aid of North Carolina. Thank you, Commissioners Hutchinson and Calabria, and my great friend, Ashley Dunston. This is a wonderful day, and it is a long time in the making. As I thought about today, two words kept coming to mind: justice and courage. So first, let's talk about justice. Almost a century ago, a young Boston lawyer named Reginald Herbert Smith published a landmark book called Justice and the Poor. It was about how people struggling economically were faring in the American legal system. He wrote, "Nothing rankles more in the human heart than the feeling of injustice." The most recent report from the Legal Services Corporation shows us that America's promise of equal justice under the law remains unfulfilled. 3 in 4 low-income households experience at least one legal problem every year, and 92% of those do not receive any legal help. Legal Aid of North Carolina is doing extraordinary work to represent clients in all 100 counties in the state, but it cannot meet the overwhelming demand. It is well known that civil legal aid is underfunded. Legal aid would need to see its budget triple to meet the legal needs of eligible clients in North Carolina. Moreover, the financial eligibility cutoff is $16,000 per individual. This means that an individual who makes $20,000 a year is too wealthy to be eligible for free legal services. While the average billable rate for lawyers in North Carolina exceeds $300 per hour, middle-income families are also shut out of the justice system due to their inability to afford counsel. When average citizens cannot access our justice system, they lose faith in the system. Or when they go to court pro se or without a lawyer against an opposing party who is represented, they experienced profound inequity and rightly view the odds as stacked against them. Justice Thurgood Marshall told us, when you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, because this is your country, this is your democracy. Make it, protect it, and pass it on. And this leads us to courage and leadership. We have been working to establish this legal support center in Wake County since 2017, but it took the courage and leadership of Judge Dunston to make it happen. I have observed the courage, tenacity, diplomacy, and ethical leadership she has exhibited throughout this process, and she has never wavered in her commitment to serve those who are in greatest need in our community and to ensure that our courthouse is citizen-focused. Our Wake County Bar Association creed of professionalism tells us, as lawyers, we are guardians of the legal system. To the public and our profession, we offer service. We strive to improve the law and our legal system, and to make our legal system more accessible, responsive, and effective for all. Judge Dunston, you have done that, and in the process, you have inspired all of us. Commissioners and court officials, thank you for your support of this wonderful project. We look forward to our continued work together to serve the citizens of Wake County.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Lechner. I'm the Executive Director of the Equal Access to Justice Commission, and I'm here today to talk with you more about what the Legal Support Center is going to do. Before I get started, I first want to thank all the commissioners and court officials, and of course, our champion of justice, Judge Dunston. This could not have happened without her fearless, tireless, texting me 20 times a day leadership, as I'm sure she did with all of y'all too. So I mean, we're just so grateful. I also want to thank the Wake County staff who has really gotten us to this position where we feel confident that we're going to be able to launch in January. They have also worked tirelessly on this project. And of course, my staff, the Equal Access to Justice Commission staff, who have also worked very hard on this. And frankly, the work is just beginning for us as we launch this project in January. So we've talked about the civil legal needs that exist in Wake County. We've talked a little bit about the Civil Legal Needs Assessment, which is a statewide civil legal needs assessment that the Equal Access to Justice Commission completed in 2021. And it showed what the vast civil legal needs are here across the state, but also in Wake County. And so let me tell you a little bit about how we're going to address this need with the Legal Support Center. Our goal is to make this a destination to access legal information and resources for any party in a civil action. So we've talked a little bit about housing, landlord-tenant. We are going to be sharing information with both sides. In any civil legal action, this will be available to them. At the same time, the Legal Support Center, we hope, will become a hub for organizations in Wake County to provide wraparound services, including pro bono opportunities for Wake County attorneys. We know that the volunteerism of the Wake County Bar is incredible, and we hope to harness that with this hub of the Legal Support Center. Personnel staffing the Legal Support Center will serve as legal navigators who will share information, forms, and resources with self-represented litigants. The Legal Support Center initially will be manned by Equal Access to Justice Commission staff and volunteers. We've already had an outpouring of support from so many organizations who want to know how they can plug in here and volunteer with us to be able to make this a really successful project and to serve as many citizens as possible. Our staff will provide access to legal forms and informational packets that address common problems like family law and housing. Those are the first two priority legal needs that we have identified. We're going to be working with an advisory group who will help us to identify future legal needs that we will expand into. Informational packets will be available for users for reference as they file certain common case types like divorce, custody, and summary ejectment. These resources will ultimately be available online. We don't want folks to have to try to access public transportation, take off work, for example, to come down to the support center. We want to make this as readily available to as many people as possible. We plan to partner with community organizations to provide free legal clinics and access to other Wake County social services and community resources. Additional programming will ultimately include Attorney of the Day program, legal referrals, attorneys willing to provide limited scope services for pro bono and low bono clients in response to community need. And finally, we hope to assist users in navigating the new e-courts and e-filing system that will be rolled out. Wake County is one of the pilot counties, and so we will be working very close with the Administrative Office of the Courts and with court officials here to make sure that this new system is easily accessible by all. We also know that 11% of Wake County residents live in poverty. Ashleigh Campbell told us a little bit about who legal aid can serve and who they cannot serve. And so we want to help bridge the gap for clients who might not be eligible for legal aid, but who are still in need of legal resources. And we know that thousands of Wake County citizens must navigate complex legal issues such as eviction and child custody without the benefit of legal representation. Again, I can't thank you all enough for helping to support us and launch this project here. We look forward to both stewarding the resources that have been entrusted to us and also to helping meet the civil legal needs of Wake County citizens. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jennifer and Ashleigh. We appreciate so much what you have done. Just on the way out, a couple of points just to sum everything up. First of all, we want to thank the Wake County staff and the court system for making this place available. You may not think just by looking at it that this was this would not be a difficult thing to do, but it's actually a very difficult thing to do. So Blair, thank you for your work in making this happen. We also need to thank our commissioners. We've got incredible commissioners. You know, it's already been identified with Vice Chair Shanika Thomas and her leadership on this, as well as all of our commissioners with Commissioner Susan Evans and Commissioner Maria Cervani, and of course our attorney on the commission, Matt Calabria, who is truly a champion of this and so many things. But the real story here is Judge Dunston. As we talked about earlier, it's so daunting to be able to get into the legal justice system and not know what the outcome is going to be or even how much trouble that you're in. Judge Dunston said two things to us all collectively. Number one, it's going to be done. Number two, we're going to do it better than Mecklenburg, period. Right, Judge? So we're going to open it up for questions, and I have the very first question. And Judge, if you could join me up here, here's the question I'd like to ask is that, you know, you may be saying, well, what do the judges think about all of this, all these folks coming before the bench with legal representation or at least information? So how do the judges feel about this?
One thing that Clerk Williams has always said is that an educated client is a better client. Right. And it's the same thing. As judges, we are not able to give legal advice from the bench. Unfortunately, based upon our ethical duty, we are not allowed to do so. There's so many times that an individual has come and just had a service issue or just something so simple that I just really want to be able to help them out with, but unfortunately I'm unable to. So to be able to say, go downstairs to the first floor, there's someone there who's going to be able to help you is the most exciting part of this situation. As I was speaking to a judge in Mecklenburg County, she said to me, I don't even know how y'all function without this. And I said, good question. So we are all looking forward to this opportunity. And as was said earlier, we are going to formulate an advisory board so that we'll be able to see where we can meet all of those needs and how we can really work together to do that. So we, as the judicial branch, are extremely excited about this opportunity. Chief Justice Newby has also been extremely instrumental in this as well with AOC, the Administrative Office of the Court. So we are excited and elated at this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Who has the next question? Please.
Can you talk about the partnership with local law schools?
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. So Campbell Law School and Dean Rich Leonard has been extremely instrumental as well with us in the students having the opportunity to come down here to not only volunteer to staff it, but also to serve as third year law student in the clinic. You can come in and actually provide limited representation as well. And so the students will receive clinic hours to be able to come down here and service. They will be under the leadership of an attorney, of course, and will be trained in that. But yes, Campbell is already excited. They have already met with us in advance, and they are extremely excited to partner with us to have their students in here as well. And so, as was stated earlier, we're looking at having attorney of the day and those kind of things where we'll be able to say, Monday is one thing, Tuesday something else, but you can always come down 5 days out of the week and try to get help.
Other questions? Please.
What is the cost to the taxpayers? And it's a very important program, but what is going to be the cost for renovation of this area and ongoing cost throughout the years?
So we've got our CFO, Emily Lucas, is here, and maybe you can talk a little bit more in specifics. But for the first 6 months, come on up, Emily. For the first 6 months, it's going to be about $100,000 plus the cost of upfit, and then we're looking at an ongoing cost of I think about $250,000. But Emily, I'll let you speak to it further.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you so much. I'm CFO Emily Lucas. As Commissioner Calabria mentioned, the first fiscal year, which will end June 30 of next year, we are looking about investment of $180,000. That's $80,000 for the upfit of this center, plus $100,000 of Wake County dollars to go toward this program. But I'm happy to let others speak. But in addition to Wake County's funding, there are other funding partners that are helping the North Carolina Equal Access to Justice Commission and the Administrative Office of the Courts to fund this program. So it is not just Wake County dollars going into this, but it is the support of the entire community that is helping fund this.
If I could just follow up on that, Jennifer Lechner, Equal Access to Justice Commission. The Wake County Bar Foundation has also committed a grant to support this as well, as has NCIOLTA. That's the Interest on Lawyers Trust Account. The Administrative Office of the Courts is also contributing, and both technology, and we hope to have kiosks for e-courts down here as well. I know, Blair, I'm with you. Hoping that is happening down here so that we can really integrate all of those technology and self-represented litigant services in one space in the courthouse. Thanks.
Other questions? Yes. Okay.
Are there any other counties in the state that have services like this? And when you said you wanted to be better than Mecklenburg County, and what are additional services maybe that they don't offer?
So Mecklenburg County is the only one that I'm aware of. Am I missing?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Mecklenburg County is the only one that has had this, and they've had it for 20 years. The way that I say ours is going to be better is because of the e-courts portion of it as well, but also because they no longer have Charlotte School of Law. And we have an opportunity with all the law schools that we have in the area to really staff this at a high level. And like I said, Mecklenburg has been a joke, but they have been amazing. And I went down there a few weeks ago, and they have really walked through with us and how we can do this. But we really want ours to be client focused and not judicial focused. So we wanted that from the moment that the person comes into the door, that they realize that we're looking from their purview of how scary this is, how intimidating this is, how this is the most important situation that they have in their life that is happening. We want to make sure that we are tailoring and wrapping our arms around them to make sure that they have the information that they need, but also that they feel empowered whenever they come in the courtroom, because education is empowering.
What else? We good to go? All right. Thank you once again. Incredible. You can tell the energy. You can feel the energy. We hope it's going to be your lead story tonight at 6 o'clock. We've got the leaders here. So if you care to do any individual speakers, we'll be around after we close everything out. So once again, thanks for everyone for being here. We'll close it down. Thank you.